Welcome back. I'm Darren from Norstead Landscaping, and today's topic is what size of skid steer should I buy? Here we have a medium size skid steer. We also have the mini skid steers, smaller than this one, and we have larger skid steers, heavier and bigger than this one. To first determine what you need to do is to figure out what type of work you're doing. If it's landscaping and you're working mainly residential and you need to get into tight spaces, then you're going to want a machine that's no bigger than this one here. You could go bigger, but it just makes the job more difficult, and we can get into the pros and cons of having a bigger machine versus a smaller one. Now I chose this machine. This is the one I started out with back in 2009, and we can go through the price was, at the time, these machines were less expensive than they are now, but it's still comparatively the same price in relation to all the other machines. So typically, if we're just talking about ASV, and it doesn't have to be ASV, but we're just talking about the size of the machine, and obviously I prefer a track machine, but it doesn't say that you can't have a wheeled machine. They do the job too. I just find this particular machine works best for me, and that's what you want to do, is find the machine that's priced right, that meets your budget, and that works best for you. Okay, so let's get into the details of why I got into this machine. Well, one, I could afford it. I was in a position where I could buy it. I was just starting out. And obviously, if you're just starting out, you probably want to get a truck first. Probably not like that. I started out with a 1995 B2300. That was my first truck for landscaping. And then once you get the truck, you're probably going to want to get a trailer and then the machine. But there's no rules here. I started with a truck, a smaller truck. Then I got a bigger truck. Then I got the machine. Then I got the trailer. So I did it a little different. Anyhow, that's for another topic. If you want to know more about landscaping in general and what equipment to have, let me know down in the comments below. So I got a really good deal on my first machine. So I studied really hard. I looked at all the specs of every machine at the time, and this one met all my needs that I needed to do. And those were, and because I never owned a skid steer, I didn't really even know what my needs were at the time. So it was really hard. So this video will hopefully help you guys. But the first thing I noticed is I went with clearance. As you can see, for the size of this machine, has the highest clearance, which is, I believe, 12 inches, so a foot. Not many skid steers have the 12-inch clearance. Second thing, I thought, oh, well, I could go with a wheeled machine. They are actually cheaper, but I needed tracks. Why did I need tracks? Well, because I work in mud, and I work in the rain. A wheeled machine wouldn't work as well as this machine in mud, in the rain. Okay, back to the machine. Okay, so there was a bigger machine, there's a smaller machine. The reason why I went with this size of machine is because I knew I needed to lift skids of brick. Now, skids of brick vary. There's heavy skids of brick and there's lighter skids of brick. This machine can lift, they say it's rated for 1,900 pounds at 50%. So I can lift almost 2,000 pounds about 50% of the way up. That's important to know. This machine can lift more weight down lower. So I can lift skids that are about 3,500 pounds and I can get them off the ground. This one, actually, I can almost double stack some of those. It all depends on the weight that you're carrying. But a bigger machine can lift that weight much higher. So if you're going to take skids off the back of a transport or a tall truck, you're going to want the bigger machine. But maybe you don't do that every day. And usually when I get brick delivered to me, They have a machine and they'll remove it off the truck and put it down on the ground, and then I can move it around. A smaller machine is going to lift less. But if you're only, say you're not moving skids of brick like I am, then a smaller machine will be fine. Because if you're just moving dirt, any machine can move dirt. That's not a problem. So again, the reason why I went to this machine for moving dirt, there's an advantage to this machine. It has 2 speeds. 1 speed is okay. 2 speeds gives you more options. And how that happens is, well, if I need to move a pile of dirt from here to someone's backyard, this machine's going to do it twice as quick because I have 2 speeds. It can go double the speed that the smaller one can. Basically, what I'm getting at is this is probably the middle of the road. It's going to do middle of the road things, and we'll talk more about that. So, advantages. Why not go to a bigger machine? Well, one, a bigger machine costs more. A bigger machine costs more to maintain. A bigger machine uses more fuel. Those are things to consider. I'd like to have a bigger machine. I might get another bigger machine down the road. I just don't really need it right now. I've managed to get by with these, and I guess the moral of this principle is if you can get by with less, you're probably going to be further ahead. The other thing you have to consider with getting a bigger machine is weight. This machine here weighs 6,500 pounds. That's middle of the road. There's machines that you can get are 8,000 pounds and beyond that. Well, you have to get this machine from your shop to the job site. So you have to keep that in consideration. Why? Because then you're getting into another realm. How am I going to get this machine around? Well, I could have somebody come and pick it up with a tilt and load, and that's fine, but I have to pay that person. Well, then there's the option of trailering your machine. And when you get into trailering, that is a whole nother ball of wax. But sticking with the machine here, I don't want to get off topic. I'm trying not to get off topic because I can go all over the place. But anyways, so this machine here is a lot easier. You don't need a big trailer. You don't need the trailer like that to haul this machine around. You can get a 7-ton trailer, be plenty. It's going to be a bigger trailer. You're not going to put this in a little tiny utility trailer with axles like that trailer over there. But a smaller machine, you may be able to get away with a smaller trailer. And then that's good. Easier to get around. You don't need a big truck to tow it around. If you go bigger, they get taller. And to a point where they don't fit in your garage. So that's something to keep into consideration. Okay, and so the other thing we have are attachments. So with attachments, you're going to have a more variety of attachments with a bigger machine because you're going to have the weight lifting capability and you're also going to have the hydraulic flow capability. This machine only can run attachments of a standard flow, which there's a lot of attachments at standard flow. So you want to make sure your gallons per minute are high enough for the attachments that you either have or are going to use. That's important. When you're buying a machine from a company, you make sure that you're at least getting forks. Ask them about attachments or deals on attachments because you can package attachments into the deal with the machines. If you can bundle everything together, then you've got it under one loan, and that's important. It might help you out. That's a little tip. When I started out, I basically only used a set of forks and a bucket. That's the only attachments I ever needed for a good 10 years. And it was only the last couple of years where I started buying attachments, only because I knew more about my business and I knew more of what I wanted to do. So now I've got a concrete breaker and I've got a post hole auger. And of course I have snow blowers, but well, actually that was one of the first things I bought was a snow blower back in the day. And that's how I paid off my first machine, was I did snow removal. If you're just starting out, renting's probably the best way to do it. If you're gonna buy the attachment, I usually buy it from the rental company. Usually you can get a decent attachment and you can rent it, try it out, and if you like it, they'll give you that rental back. Always good if you're going to try something, rent it. Hey, even a skid steer. If you want to know if that's going to work for you, rent it. Rent it, try it out, and get to use that machine and understand how it works. You're going to find out you're going to be more successful of picking your machines that way. So the recap, first thing I would suggest, if you're going to buy a new machine or a new skid steer, the best thing you can do is go rent one. If you want an ASV and the rental company doesn't have that particular model, well, go see the dealer and make a deal with them. Say, I want to try it out. I think this might be the machine for me, and try it out. That's the best advice I can give you. Fine. If you think something's going to work for you, do your research first, look at the specs, and then once you've determined, narrowed your equipment purchase down to a specific few, then go and try them. Rent them, try them out, take your time. That's the best advice I can give somebody for buying a new piece of equipment. Take your time. Don't be in a rush. I've been there. I made some good purchases and I made some bad purchases. That's going to happen too. So that'll wrap up this video for today. If you want to know more information, please like, subscribe, comment down below, and I'll be more than happy to answer your questions. I'm Darren with Northstead Landscaping. Have a great day.